Hi, Joel. It's great to have you come today to talk to our students about every age counts. And I'm going to let you tell our students about what that means. So over to you.
Yeah, g'day and thanks, Ralph. Really happy for this opportunity. So my name is Joel Pringle, and I'm an advocacy campaigner on the Every Age Counts campaign. And Every Age Counts is a campaign resource and initiated by the Benevolent Society, but work with a coalition across the sector, including the players you might recognise, CODA, National Seniors, AAG, and a big broad range. But our goal as a campaign is to end ageism. Like we say, our vision is a society where every person is valued, connected, and respected, regardless of age. So we identified very early on that this is a really new space to work, and we didn't really understand what it would mean to campaign to end ageism, and actually not many others did either. We engaged Urbis through a sort of landmark report for us called The Drivers of Ageism, which delved into the international experience and knowledge on this, and there wasn't a whole lot was the answer. There's bits and pieces that we could pull together, and we did. That report did so and gave us a few really important lessons, and it also did some new research, that report. But we learned that one of the key findings was that in order to change policy around how people are affected by ageism, because ageism is still so widely accepted and not really recognised amongst the community, we could only change those structural barriers by also changing social attitudes at the same time. So that's where this campaign's a bit different, and this is where it's been a really wonderful challenge to try and work out, how do we do this? It's quite new. So what we try and do, we wanted to work out what does it mean to change people's attitudes. We've worked with people behind, for example, the anti-smoking campaigns, public health campaigns. We took lessons from people who've been involved in community organising. We're trying to bring all these things together. And we know that ageism, being discrimination against people based solely upon age, impacts people in their health. So the World Health Organization, in the first global report on ageism released this year, said that people who experience ageism or hold ageist beliefs of themselves, internalised ageism, have severe health impacts as well and shorter lives. We know it affects their employment, although the stereotype of an older person, the stereotype of a person receiving unemployment benefits is young, going to the beach a bit too much, and work shy. Actually, when you look at the numbers of people on unemployment payments, New Start now, they're almost at retirement age. They're actually people who are retired, they're just not eligible for the age pension, and they can't get a job. They're applying for jobs, but they can't get them because of the ageism that they're experiencing. So there's real impacts there. If we're going to address those things, we need to change attitudes. Changing attitudes in the community is really a way to change the political environment, because politicians know what the problems are. They know what the barriers are. They go, well, here's an issue, but we just can't do anything about it, because they don't just work on policy. They exist in a political environment. So we need to change the political environment. So we beyond sort of normal broadcast communications, we've organised events. We've Ageism Awareness Day. We held the first one this year, where we brought people together to talk about it, and we get media around ageism. We need to do something a bit more than that, because we know from the research we've done, we know that the thing that's most likely to change somebody's mind, if I have a preconceived bias, it's really hard to change that if it's deeply held. The most likely thing that's going to make it change is somebody I already know, somebody I already trust, gives me that new piece of information, and then I might consider that new piece of information. That's how I can change my bias. So we've set about providing our supporters all around the country with the tools and skills they need to change attitudes around what it means to get older and what it means to be older, and how we think about older people, because that's the key that we understand is what it means to start to end ageism in the community. That's based on a piece of work called Reframing Aging in Australia. We did that with academics from the University of Sydney, and you can find that on our website. So that's yeah. So that piece of training, we're about to launch it. It's an online thing that people can go on. They go through as groups and they stay engaged with each other, and they challenge and inspire each other to go and do these things in their own networks, in their own communities.
Thanks, Joel. That's a really great description of the campaign. So you're really going for a grassroots approach, is getting the community involved in the issue, increasing their awareness and education about ageism. What are you most excited about when you think about the outcomes of this project?
I think that involving people all around the country, getting lots of people involved, it means that they have a lot of buy-in to this change if they've been a part of it. So we're demonstrating to people, once they've taken through this process, that change is possible and they can be part of it. And so we are providing them the skills to do it. So they will use those skills to end ageism, but they're going to be motivated by other things. They're going to use those skills to be active citizens, to go and get, whether it's policy change or whatever else, in other areas as well. So it's really, yes, we're a campaign to end ageism, but in doing it in this new way, we're also building something new across society.
That's great. Well, I look forward to hearing in the future how the campaign continues, and we'll invite you back to talk to our students about that. I guess you know this subject is about policy development and how do we create policies. Have you got any advice for our students about what you think is one of the most important things to think about in policy making?
Yeah, so we do that policy work too. So we've got the grassroots work, we've got the policy development, and whether it's in elder abuse or aged care or employment, we have that working. But we know that just writing new policies, just going to government and saying, here's all the evidence, you get a sore head from bashing it against a brick wall too often, waiting for a particular penny to drop and something that may or may not occur, generally outside of your control. So we've said if there are social issues to address, if there are political circumstances that are not allowing these changes to get up, despite all of the evidence, then you've got to change those things. You've got to change the social circumstances and address the political barriers too.
Great. So policy is always about the individual and the context in which they exist. And yes, that's a very good insight for our students. So thanks for joining us today and giving us your time to learn more about Every Age Counts. Thanks, Joel.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ralph.
Okay.